Hello, hello, and welcome to this episode of the Sassy CEO podcast. I'm Paula Bailey, your host, and we got a special episode today. Today, I am recording from Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm here hanging out with my family. I was born here, but I'm here for a family wedding, and I thought what better time to do an episode on all the things that I use to keep my business running while I'm overseas. It's an important part of who I am to be able to travel and have freedom, and I wanted to share that with you today. So I'm going to go through the top 10 tools and resources that I use to keep everything running and to communicate with my clients and my team to help me stay on track and be the best version of me. So grab yourself a cuppa, settle into your walk, settle into your drive, whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world right now, please enjoy. Don't forget, if you would like to grab yourself a copy of the Sassy CEO Strategic Planning Template, head over to sassyceo.com.au/gift and grab yourself that. That's from me to you, a special gift. But for now, let's just jump straight into it and let me share the resources that I use to run my business, even when I'm in beautiful places like Johannesburg, South Africa. Wow, am I excited to be recording this episode from South Africa, one of my favorite places in the world. It is, in fact, my place of birth. I'm here hanging with family, and it is just so exciting to be here because a little bit of a dream come to fruition for me, because for so long, I remember many, many years ago sitting in my corporate job and thinking about being able to run a business and travel the world and see amazing things while still contributing and obviously earning money. And here I am today actually doing my podcast from a place that I absolutely love, getting to spend amazing time with my family, have experiences, and still run my business. And so I thought today it's a timely opportunity for me to share some of the things that I use to keep my business running even when I'm not in Australia. And I wanted to share that with you because I want to keep opening your mind to the potential of what you can do using all the amazing resources that you have to keep running your business. Because I think a lot of us start our businesses, and you might not be like me. Maybe you started your business for different reasons. You wanted to be able to be around for your kids, or you just wanted to be able to do your own thing. And now you're finding yourself in a place where perhaps you're thinking, gosh, I never get to take any time away. I'm sort of stuck to my office or my desk, and it kind of feels pretty hard. So today's episode is here to inspire you to see that there is so many things out there to help you keep things running while you go and see other things and do other things. Because I know if you're anything like me, you probably value freedom, you value experiences. And so today's the day that I'm going to share with you what I use. So let's get straight into it. I've got about 10 resources that I use that I want to share with you today. And the first one is an app that I have on my phone, and it is called Time Zone Calendar. This was actually suggested to me quite a few years ago by one of my amazing clients to use. And it is a really great app to help you convert time. And the reason why I like this one is because you can set whatever city you're in on one, it sort of goes in columns. And on one side of the column is like maybe the city that you're actually in. And then on the other side, directly lining up with that first column is the time zones and the dates by hour that the conversion would be for the other city. So I find it really, really useful if I'm sort of setting a time with a client and it's, 2 weeks from now. Yes, I can use my calendar, but the great thing about this is it obviously takes into account any clock changes, because in Australia we'd recently also had clock changes. It takes into account all of that sort of stuff, and you just go in, you line up the columns, and you can quickly and very easily see what the equivalent is for your client or for you or vice versa, and easily set times. So I find that one really, really useful when setting meetings or trying to work out time zone differences. So that's Time Zone Calendar. And I will put the links to all these in the show notes. So don't stress, just sit back, listen to this, and then know that you can come back to the show notes and download whatever seems relevant for you. So the second tool that I use is another app that sits on my phone, and that is Voxer. Now, I use Voxer every single day of the year, not just when I'm traveling. It is like a walkie-talkie app, and it is fabulous for being able to communicate with people. I use this for my clients even when I'm not traveling, because I love my clients to be able to communicate with me in real time. Yes, I could use other social media messaging apps, but I use this in particular because I like to try and stay off social media when I'm not actually using it for work or for very short periods for my own personal use, because I find if I'm on social media all day long, it kind of zaps my efficiency. I get stuck. You know what it's like. You get stuck in the feed, and before you know it, an hour or two's gone that you could have been using to grow your business. So I don't like to be on social media for that type of situation. So I use Voxer, and it's really helpful even in times that you're in different time zones, because a client can literally walkie-talkie you. So the other emphasis that I want to make here is no one is typing. I mean, you can type. There's been a couple of times where I've had a message come through saying I'm putting Bailey, my son, to sleep. I might, message back something quickly if it's appropriate. Otherwise, I just wait until there's an appropriate time. And the great thing is I can just speak my answer back into the phone, and my client gets it in real time. I love it because I love giving clients support in real time. I love being able to answer questions as they're coming up. My clients love it as well. So if you are someone that, communicates regularly with your clients rather than being in email or in social media, check out Voxer. It's really, really effective for communicating quickly and effectively, and not getting stuck in the drone of email or the distractions of social media. So that's Voxer. Number 3 is Zoom. I'm actually currently recording this very podcast using Zoom. So I record I record the podcast using Zoom. I just record on a meeting, and I then send that off to my podcast team. But I use Zoom all the time if I want to do a video call with a client, because sometimes I want to see someone's face, especially when I'm doing mindset work or clearing, because obviously I do both from strategy to looking at the inner world of the Sassy CEO that I'm working with. I like to sometimes see the person. So Zoom is really effective. It's effective for recording content. It's effective for communicating, having real-time videos, and it's really, really useful because it's so easy to just install on your computer. You can install it on your phone. You can run meetings. You can run trainings. It is such a diverse tool, and something that I really recommend that you have in your arsenal. So Zoom is a big recommendation from me. On the other hand, when I am doing sort of quick calls with my clients, or we're just connecting in and we don't need to do video while I'm overseas, it's interesting. I used to use Skype. I'm not personally a massive fan of Skype anymore. I know there's lots of people that still use it. That's just my personal preference. My preference now, if I'm doing a quick call, is actually Facebook Messenger. I find the calls are really clear, and it's very effective. Obviously, most people have got Facebook Messenger on their phone, so it's easy for my clients, because that was the other thing with Skype. I found that I had to ask clients to download additional software, and that was proving to be quite difficult because sometimes it can be a little bit clunky. So Facebook Messenger is just so easy. Everyone's got it in their phone. I can quickly connect with someone via video or just a phone call. It's clear, it's crisp, it's effective. Get on it if you're not using it. Obviously, the caveat is there that you are very careful. I'm always very careful in terms of how I'm using that social media. I don't like clients in between that time to be communicating with me that way, just because I don't want any messages to get lost. But that's something that's really important, that we set expectations with our clients and we help them to understand how to best work with each other so that they can get the best out of you and you can give them the best support. So just keep that in mind when you're using tools like Facebook Messenger to communicate with clients. It's obviously in a very specific time. My clients know that we only use that when I'm actually offshore, and they're cool with that. So Facebook Messenger, really, really good for being able to do quick phone calls, not have to buy credit or anything like that. The next thing that is really, really important for me while I'm traveling is actually my Sassy CEO strategic plan. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am the planning queen. It is a real cornerstone of what we do at the Sassy CEO, is having the strategic plan. So just like all the clients my team and I also do a quarterly strategic planning meeting where we look at all our opportunities, our strategic issues. We've got very specific processes that we put the business through to really stress test what our opportunities are and look at what we're going to be focusing on in the next quarter. And so obviously it's really important. It's a very, very important document for us to be working off, especially when I'm offshore. And I just find it is like my anchor. It helps me to stay connected into what I'm doing. Now, obviously, there are times when I'm overseas and I'm switched off, and I love the fact that I've got my plan there because I haven't been working every day while I'm over here. I wanted to take a break, but I am over here for over 4 weeks, and I can't be on break that long. I love my work too much to stop. So I find the plan is just so useful for those moments in life where we want to take a break, but we want to be able to switch off. And because I know that everything's documented and everything's there, it helps me as a business owner switch off because I can come back to the documents, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about where we house that in a moment. But I can come back at any time, like even if I wanted to take a couple of weeks off, and know exactly down to the task what I was up to when I last left the work zone. So it is a really pivotal part of keeping me on track, keeping me committed to what's happening and focused without having to kind of like go through massive to-do lists and, take a week to get back into things when I've taken a break. So it's a very, very important part of me staying on track and also helping the team to stay on track for what they've got to achieve to help us achieve our mission quarter by quarter. Now, mentioning team, obviously I have a few different people working in that support me to run the Sassy CEO, and we use Monday.com as a project management tool. We've tested a few different ones. I'm always open to looking at different ones. At the moment, I'm loving Monday.com. It is a really cool project management tool because it's sort of got different templates. You can set different projects up with different styles of project, and that really works for my creative brain because sometimes, depending on the project, I like to set up the information in different ways. But our actual strategic plan is in there by annual and also quarterly intentional priorities. So we know what our priorities are literally down to the week, and we can manage those. Not only I can manage it as a leader, so all our priorities, we call them intentional priorities at Sassy CEO because we're very intentional, are all documented into Monday.com, and we've got our annual plan and our quarterly plan. And we can work off that as a team so that everyone knows what their responsibilities are. We can communicate and everyone is doing, their individual tasks and hitting their goals so that we know that each quarter and then obviously annually we're moving in towards the targets that we've set, and also then, the mission of the business, which is to transform women who are running business into confident, conscious and wealthy leaders who run businesses that positively impact their community and the world. That's very, very important here at Sassy CEO. We live by that. We look at it all the time and we're focusing on that, and each task that we do contributes into that. So the plan and Monday.com help us all stay on track, even when I'm not actually at my desk in Melbourne. Another part, I think, of being really effective when you're overseas is being able to manage yourself and actually, I guess, your own performance. It's so easy when you get overseas and you're, kind of trying out different foods. Maybe you're a little bit out of routine. And I find having some form of structure in my routine really helps me. It actually helps me, first of all, to enjoy the experience of being overseas more. I've done that before where I've kind of gone overseas and I let all my usual habits fly out the window. And before you know it, I'm, eating everything under the sun, and I'm, not sleeping as well as I normally would. I'm not hydrated. I'm not exercising. And you know what? I talk about this with my clients all the time. I mean, those habits that you have actually form who you are. And so if you imagine a bike wheel, and in that bike wheel, there's spokes, and I got this from an amazing client. This is a really great one. There's this wheel, and it has spokes, and each spoke represents one of your habits. Every time you let one of those habits go, even when you're traveling, you can see how the integrity of that wheel gets compromised, and the ability for you to roll through your days starts to slow down because the tire is not pumped up anymore. It's starting to become quite deflated. So I find it's really important when you're traveling to maintain some of those habits. Maybe it's not every single one that you would do while you're at home because maybe you want to have a break from something, but being able to just identify the things that really make you you. So for me, it is my exercise, staying hydrated, having time to journal and to connect and sort of just have my quiet time. Those things are integral for who I am as a person. And I don't become a very nice person to be around when I'm not doing that stuff. So I make sure that I'm doing that stuff. So this next app, which is called Strides, is really, really, really great for keeping track of those key habits. And so if you've been following me on social media, you will have seen that I've done a challenge called 75 Hard, where I had to do a certain number of habits. I won't go through it now because I actually want to do an episode of that on that another time. But I had to keep track of certain habits. And the last part of me doing that 75 days was while I was overseas. And I was actually tracking all those habits throughout the whole 75 days with this app called Stride. So you can actually put in what habits you want to track, and then you can tick them off each day. And it keeps a running tally of how many days in a row that you've been doing a particular habit. I find it really useful. I've had lots of questions on social media when I've done screen shares on my Instagram stories, like, what's that app, PB? What's that app? So I really wanted to include that because, it's just a really useful tool for keeping track of things. And just visually being able to see those habits that are really important to you and stay committed to doing those. So Strides is the app that just sits on your phone so that you can tick that off each night before you go to sleep. So the next piece of equipment I currently have on my head, and these are my Bose headphones. So these are the noise cancelling headphones. I will link them in the show notes. These are, again, just a multifaceted tool that I find just so useful. So obviously when you're traveling, noise cancelling. So when you're traveling on a plane, if it's really loud, you can put the noise cancelling out and it makes it so much better. It's not so great if you're traveling with a 2-year-old, which I am currently traveling with. I think that would be very unfair for me to just put my noise cancelling headphones on my son. So I don't use them as noise cancelling when I'm traveling with him. If I'm traveling on my own, I traveled earlier this year to Europe on my own, and they were great for cancelling out noise. And being able to, watch movies, or I often listen to meditations. I listen to binaural beats. I use them a lot to kind of just also relax my brain. So I don't always necessarily have them on silent, but they are such a great tool to have in your toolkit. I find these really useful as well for journaling. If I do want to journal and there's a lot of noise around me and I kind of just want to come quite insular. So later on today, I'm heading out to go and sit at a lovely cafe. And I find that it just helps me sometimes center before I journal it. Sometimes I'll have them on completely silent. They are wireless. I won't pull this wire out now because I'm connected to my microphone, but they are wireless. So they're super portable. So I don't have any wires. I can sit in a cafe, put them on and kind of just go into my own world. And that just helps me connect and, do all the things that I want to do to journal and, get everything out of the busy mind, which is a really important part of one of my habits, which is what I was just talking about before, that helps me stay on track to be the best version of me. So these are so, so crucial for my traveling now. And I use them all the time when I'm at home as well. So a little bit more of an investment, but definitely worthwhile because you will use them a lot for all those reasons that I've just listed. So finally, the last piece of software or tools, rather, they're all in the cloud that I use to keep everything going in business is actually my G Suite. So Google Suite. My entire business runs off of that, even when I'm not traveling, but it's even more important for my team to be able to use, first of all, G Drive. So important. All our documents sit in G Drive. We can all work together on different things. So I could be sitting here in South Africa while my ops manager is in Melbourne, and we might be marking up a document, and we can both do that. We can work off spreadsheets. It's so, so useful. My podcast team, we use the Drive and different applications. We use docs and spreadsheets to help keep this podcast flowing. And, the podcast team are dotted all over the world. So that keeps everything rolling. And it's just, I don't think I could run without having everything in the cloud. So it's a big, important part of the business. The other really pivotal Google document, I guess I use, not document, it's a Google tool, I guess, is calendar while I'm traveling. And I like to use that in conjunction with the time zone calendar, which is the first resource that I shared with you, because time zone helps me keep everything, I guess, in alignment. So knowing what time zones other clients are on to make sure that I'm lining up meetings. But Google Calendar is cool because wherever you are in the world, it will change to suit the time zone that you're in. So I can actually be here in real time in Joburg and see, okay, cool, at 7 a.m. I've got a meeting with one of my clients, but when I send them the invite, obviously that's going to go straight through on their time zone. And I find that really, really useful. But I'm using the other tools like time zone calendar to make sure that there's no confusions happening. I also keep, just remember now, I always keep my actual clock on my iMac set to local time, not local time for me here, sorry, to Melbourne time or Australian time, because a lot of my clients are there. And I have another app. I don't know what it's called actually. You know what? I'm going to put it in the show notes, but it sits on the bottom of my Chrome, and I've got key cities and the times for key cities because I have team and clients that sort of dot all over the world, and I have those there at the bottom of my Chrome, and that's a little bit different. So I'm kind of surrounded by all these different apps that help me be able to clue into what time it is at any time, so that I make sure that I'm turning up to meetings on time and I'm not missing any key dates for trainings or anything that I've got in my diary, so that things can run smoothly. So there you have it. That is a little bit of an insight into some of the tools that I'm currently using to travel with my family as I, fulfill on that very important value of mine of freedom and experiencing the world. And it helps me to keep running things. And you can use these tools in your business too, so that you could go, maybe it's not overseas, maybe it's just you being able to head somewhere more locally, but just take some time away from your business. It's such an important thing for you to recharge as a business owner. I mean, this is why in the Sassy CEO Collective, we insist that the clients come in for a couple of days to do their strategic planning, so that you're stepping away from your environment and, recharging, because you see so many new things. I can't tell you how many great ideas I've had, insights into the business, just by stepping out of my actual usual environment, stepping out of my usual home office, and going out into the world and looking at other things. You get things from a different perspective. Creativity flows. I cannot recommend it enough. But while you're away, there are so many resources and tools that you can use to keep things running for your clients, for your team, and for yourself, so that you don't have to stress that something's going to break, because nothing's going to break. You have all the resources that you need in the world. So there you have it. So if you'd like to set yourself up with your own Sassy CEO strategic plan, I always gift you the template. Please head over to sassyceo.com.au/gift. Grab yourself a template there. There's also the opportunity for you to score your business. We've got the Sassy CEO business scorecard. See how your business is scoring right now. If you want to do the scorecard, head over to the exact same URL. You'll see just a little bit further down the page. You can also do the business scorecard. But for now, I think that's me. I'm going to wrap it up. I don't know if you can see, but there's a beautiful pool in the background. I'm going to go chill by the pool and soak up some beautiful South African rays. I hope you guys are having an amazing time wherever you are. Thank you so much for being a listener here at the podcast. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe so that you can check out all the other episodes, and share this if you know other women who are running businesses who want to do good things in the world. Share the love with them, please. It would mean so much to me if they could also be part of the Sassy CEO community. For now, I'll catch you later. Bye.